Hello, very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday night's calendar.
Thank you for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
Treacherous road ahead. How new tax changes could bring special needs school transport to a grinding halt.
It's awful. I don't quite understand what's going on, to be fair, with the government. They seem to be attacking the vulnerable first. It was the elderly and now the disabled. It's shocking.
Protecting our planet or highway robbery. York Council agrees to a £10 charge for 2 hours of parking.
Well, that's disgraceful. All you're going to have is that the shopkeepers will say they're losing business, and quite right.
I think it's important to encourage people into the city centre, and I think increasing car parking charges might discourage people.
Welcome to day 11, walking from Morocco to the UK to raise money for children.
Out of Africa, we're joined by the fundraiser who's just walked almost 2,000 miles back to his home city of Bradford.
And we're looking at a wet and windy spell tomorrow, even more so by the time we reach Friday, with weather warnings in place and a named storm. All the detail a little later on.
Good evening. First, to the impact of new tax rises due to be imposed in just a matter of months to some of the most vulnerable families in our region.
Yes, a taxi firm which has been taking children with special educational needs to schools in North Yorkshire for more than 30 years says the increase in employer national insurance payments could be devastating for both business and for the vital service they provide.
They say it could leave some children without transport to and from school, and some parents having to give up work so that their children can access education. Michael Billington has our main story.
It seems Benji Roman loves our camera almost as much as he loves his journey to school.
Morning, Benj. What are you doing? Come on, then. Yeah, no, they're phenomenal. They're absolutely amazing. They become friends, especially with a child like Benji that can't speak. You have to trust these people to look after, because he can't, oh, this has happened and this has happened. So you've got to have that bond with them. And They are amazing people.
But these daily taxi trips are under threat, with the private firm that runs them struggling to see how it'll afford its tax bill once employer national insurance contributions go up in April.
Obviously, if we're not making enough money to cover the wages and the overheads that we have, then ultimately we can't do that, which means we'd have to cut on staff and could mean closures. Where's the provision going to come from? You may end up with people who aren't properly equipped, that can't provide regular, reliable transport for these children, or no transport at all. Then the parents will end up either having to give up work, which again means a loss to the government, to take their own children to school, or not being able to get them there.
The kids just light up your life, you know what I mean? I've got special needs children of my own, and I know how important routine is to them. I know how important continuity is to them. If we do have to end up handing contracts back because they become unviable, I'll always be able to find more work. It's the children that, you know, they're the ones that we've got to put first.
It's awful. I don't quite understand what's going on, to be fair, with the government. They seem to be attacking the vulnerable first. It was the elderly and now the disabled. It's shocking, because it's a massive part of Benji's independence as well. It's the one thing he does without me and Dad there.
Disability campaigners fear it could have implications for hundreds, if not thousands, of children in Yorkshire alone.
It could be really damaging. Children could end up not being able to have the education that they need, and also damaging for the families that could be forced to give up work, making really financial difficulties for those families who really want the children to go to the schools they need to go to.
The government's thought to be considering a potential compensation scheme to help lessen the impact of national insurance increases for people in the public sector.
We're hoping to be included in that. Purely the special educational needs drivers and passenger assistants. It would cost a lot less to the government in the long run, and it would be a far more practical solution than companies going out of business when they're all doing it every day.
There we go, Mum.
But without some sort of assistance, private companies transporting some of our most vulnerable children say the help they provide to families like Benji's will simply be unaffordable.
Come on then. Oh, heck.
Michael Billington, ITV News, near Scarborough.
Yes, well, we did ask the Treasury to respond to these concerns, but as yet they haven't done that.
Next tonight, a crash on the A64 in North Yorkshire this morning, which left one man dead, has been referred to the police watchdog.
The incident near Cranbeck has been passed over to the IOPC as it happened moments after officers from the North Yorkshire Force tried to stop the car. Well, our reporter Matt Price has been following this for us today. Of course, it caused an awful lot of disruption for drivers, didn't it?
Huge delays, and we now know the reason for those problems on the roads this morning. Police have released details which relates to an incident that happened in the early hours of this morning. Let's take a look at these pictures. This was at the scene first thing. As you can see, we're told a red Vauxhall Corsa left the A64 near Cranbeck and collided with a tree. And for anyone that knows that stretch of road and uses it every day, it happened where the dual carriageway meets the single carriageway road. Now, we've been told by the North Yorkshire Force that officers had attempted to stop this car a short time before the crash, but they have confirmed to Calendar this evening the only person in the car, who was a man in his 50s, was pronounced dead at the scene. The incident's been referred to the police watchdog, the IOPC, and as you'd expect with this kind of collision, officers are now appealing for anyone with information to come forward, particularly keen to hear from anyone who is in the area or might have dashcam footage and can help with this ongoing investigation.
OK, Matt, thank you very much.
In other news, a man caught with a loaded AK-47 assault rifle at his Leeds home has been jailed for 5 years. In his guilty plea today, 27-year-old Kane Clark of Kelsall Road told Leeds Crown Court he was holding the weapon for others. Officers found the gun alongside 30 rounds of live ammunition hidden in his Hyde Park cellar in November.
Councillors in Bradford held an extraordinary meeting today to debate proposals for an unprecedented hike in council tax charges. Now, the authority has submitted a request to the government to consider rises of 10 to almost 15% from April. At the meeting, opposition leaders criticised the council's spending on projects such as Bradford Live. The council leader, Susan Hinchcliffe, said it's not an easy decision, but it is essential for the future of the city.
Well, meanwhile, in York, there's controversy over a decision by the council there to increase parking charges, which means you could have to pay around £10 for 2 hours in the city centre.
Well, the idea was given the blessing of the leaders of the Labour Council last night, but city centre traders say it'll make it even harder to attract customers. Well, John Hill is in York for us this evening.
Well, I don't think I'm sticking my neck out too much to suggest that most people don't enjoy paying for parking, but perhaps even fewer will relish the prospect of paying these increased prices here in York. This is the Castle car park in the lee of famous Clifford's Tower. £6.80 for 2 hours, the current charge, but from April that will go up to £9.70 or £10.60 on a Friday and a Saturday, or during those the Christmas market celebrations that York likes. The council says, well, you can get a discount if you apply for the right thing if you're a local, but it says cash is short. But you won't be surprised to hear that the bulk of the motorists we spoke to today are not happy.
Well, that's disgraceful. All you're going to have is that the shopkeepers will say they're losing business, and quite right, and people will go off elsewhere.
It's very rare that I park in York. We've come because my daughter's coming to as a student sort of thing. So I expected to pay quite a lot in the centre. So I don't know whether the difference makes a huge difference for other people. I think it's important to encourage people into the city centre, and I think increasing car parking charges might discourage people into the centre where there's a lot of thriving young businesses and shops.
Well, some of the concerns you heard there are echoed by, say, B&B owners, guest house owners and small independent shops like this one. This is the Monk Bar model shop. It's been in business in York for 61 years. And shops like these rely in part on people coming from outside the city, say Malton and Pickering. They can't get the discount card, and there's a worry those customers will be discouraged from coming into York.
We're all aware there's extra price rises coming for businesses with NI and business rates increasing things over the next few months. So potentially it's a tough year ahead. This just feels like it's another hurdle being put in front of us by the council.
So around a tenner to park for 2 hours here in York from April. Just up the road in Harrogate, different authority, North Yorkshire Council, £3.40 to park for 2 hours there. But the council here says it has to prioritise services.
As a local authority, we've got the threat of having to cut services. We're using parking charges to raise revenue and avoid us having to cut services. But at the same time, we want it to do something useful in our city. We've got horrendous congestion. A lot of the time, the roads are gridlocked. We're looking at increasing the parking charges to encourage people to use other means of transport: bus, train, walking, cycling.
Well, senior civic leaders gave these plans their blessing at a meeting last night, and they're likely to be ratified by the full council next month, and the new parking charges will come in April.
John Hill in York, thank you.
And do let us know what you think about that story. I'm sure you'll have strong thoughts on it. Now, you're watching Wednesday night's calendar with Ian White and Lara Roston. Thanks for being with us. Still to come tonight. In sport, Sheffield United's win at Swansea puts them back on top of the championship pile. Leeds will be aiming to leapfrog them tonight. And the long road home will be joined in the studio by the fundraiser who's just walked from Africa back to his home city of Bradford.
Right, well, let's have a word about the weather now. A bit of a foggy start this morning, Kerry?
Yeah, I think most people probably thought today was quite quiet, but we weren't without our weather conditions. There was some fairly thick fog first thing. This was Leeds Bradford Airport first thing this morning. Big thank you to Matt Barker. But you can see there's a bit of blue sky there, and there were just pockets of blue. This was Sandy's scene, this sunny scene at Slowett, but it didn't last long and the cloud came through. But we're all talking about Friday already, and it's only Wednesday.
A little bit worried
because
about
we've
Friday.
got our fifth named storm. Yes, Arwen, our fifth named storm of the season, which began in September. The reason is there's a lot of cold air, or there has been, over the States over the last few days, and that deep cold is helping to push a very fierce jet stream way above us at 230 miles an hour, but it's helped to, what we think on Thursday, from 6 a.m. Thursday until 6 a.m. Friday, basically produce what we call, or what you might have read as a weather bomb. So it's called officially explosive cyclogenesis, which basically means a deepening area of low pressure that's going to give us some strong winds, a spell of rain, and maybe even some snow on the leading edge. So we do have amber and weather warnings in place. They're likely to change tomorrow, but just be aware there could be gusts quite widely of between 50 and 70 miles an hour, and certainly for parts of North Yorkshire and down the Pennine Spine all the way to Derbyshire, maybe in excess of that for a time. So some real damaging gusts on Friday. Of course, I'll have the forecast at the end of the programme, and I'll be updating you between now and then, for sure.
Thank you very much, Kerry.
You're welcome.
OK, time for a bit of sport now. And Sheffield United are back on top of football's championship after coming from behind to beat Swansea last night. The Blades' equaliser came from an unlikely source. Ryan Brewster with just his second goal of the season. And then, after Swansea had been reduced to 10 men, Tyrese Campbell won a penalty, which was dispatched by Harrison Burrows, his third goal in 4 days.
So the Blades 2 points clear at the top of the championship, but could be overtaken tonight if Leeds beat Norwich. The Whites go into the game unbeaten in 9, which includes Sunday's 3-0 win over Sheffield Wednesday.
A bit like Sheffield was the perfect scoreline for us, but it was still a tight game, and we have to be there in these decisive moments. And it will be the same against Norwich. So I expect also like a difficult, tight game, but we have to make sure in the correct moments we are there and defend really well and also use our chances. So I expect a quite similar game, I have to say.
Next, would you be tempted to cut meat and dairy from your diet? More than 1 million people are apparently only eating plant-based food as part of so-called veganuary this month.
Yeah, despite their good intentions, some are put off by the high price of vegan products, and there are growing calls to make them more affordable. Catherine Sainai has more.
Cutting down on animal products in your diet can be difficult, but Terry and Martin Cody Owen from Wetherby have been excited to take on the challenge.
I can see myself sustaining this later in the year, but I mean, even if everybody only adapted, say, a meat-free Monday, then it just gives them the opportunity to broaden their culinary horizons a bit, and I can see myself doing that without a doubt.
See, I agree that anybody trying to become a vegetarian or vegan, I think they need to be very kind to themselves and not push themselves too far. Because if you try to do it all in one go, you're in danger of burnout and giving up.
Data from the Association of UK Dietitians found that plant-based alternatives generally cost more. A budget meat beef burger costs 53 pence per 100 grams. Luxury meat beef burgers are 72 pence, but the vegan alternative costs 96 pence. Chicken nuggets are 39 pence per 100 grams, with the plant-based alternative costing 61 pence. and fish fillets are around 72 pence per 100 grams, whereas the vegan version would set you back £1.31. One farmer who sells meat, dairy and vegan food in his farm shop says he doesn't understand why plant-based proteins are so expensive.
It may be that actually the reason why they're more expensive is because there's not sufficient demand, and therefore the manufacturers that are making them, they don't have a system that's geared up for mass production. Instead of, because meat has been around for such a long time, they've been able to create supply chains that's going to make it a lot more sort of cost effective.
But with many people feeling the squeeze financially, is it feasible for people to make the switch to plant-based alternatives?
It's actually kind of never been more affordable, I would say. So the great thing about vegan diets is their focus on whole foods. So things like your fruits, your vegetables, grains, beans, lentils, all that kind of stuff, which are all really generally very cheap items, and they're also really accessible kind of in, you know, all of your high street stores and supermarkets.
So if you've been considering veganism, going back to basics could be your answer. Catherine Tenai, ITV News.
Good luck if you are doing veganuary. Finally tonight, if you're on a New Year fitness challenge, maybe getting down to the gym or taking a regular stroll, then our next guest will probably put you to shame.
You put me to shame, that's for sure. That's because Liam McCarthy has just completed a solo walk. Get this, 1,700 miles from Africa back to his home city of Bradford.
Now, yesterday, Liam's friends and family joined him on the final leg of his journey from Morocco yesterday. And throughout the trek, Liam posted his progress for his social followers.
Hello from the Spanish mountains. Welcome to day 11, walking from Morocco to the UK to raise money for children.
Liam, welcome. It's good to see you back home. You made it back to Yorkshire. That's got to be a good thing. How are the feet?
Bit sore, but yeah, not too bad actually.
Because when you embarked on this, you basically arrived in Morocco. And what did you do when you got there with your phone?
I just landed in Morocco and put Google Maps to take me home, basically, and just took it from there.
So what I find amazing about you, Liam, is you didn't take any supporting people to help you along the way. You did it all yourself. Why did you do it? Because it's quite a thing to do. Not many people achieve that.
I just felt like I needed to do something. So for a lot of years, I felt like I meant to do something different. Thought about doing a lot of different things, and got myself fit. Stopped drinking for a year, and decided to do this challenge. So.
What were the sort of difficult bits about it then? What were the worst bits of it?
So the worst bits were obviously leaving my children behind and not seeing them for 4 months. But just, yeah, the uphills, the mountains, so the big hills, stuff like that. Every day by the last 5 miles were difficult. So, yeah.
We can see you in Gambia, in fact. I think we've got some pictures of you there. I mean, what a experience. You must have seen some amazing things and met some wonderful people.
Yeah, some wonderful people. It was really humbling to see the children. They're always smiling, you know, they don't have anything really, and just, yeah, it brings it home to you, you know, why I'm doing this.
That's where the money's going, isn't it?
Yeah, the money's going to be going to an orphanage in Morocco, sorry, not Morocco, in Gambia. Yeah. We're going to be building shower blocks, toilets, a water well, and some better living accommodation, because at the moment they just live, learn, sleep in the same area.
And so far you've managed to raise £9,000?
Yeah, all in £9,000, yeah.
But you're still looking to raise a bit more?
Still looking to raise a bit more, yeah. Still looking to raise a bit more. And in the future I'll be doing more stuff to raise money, more money for stuff that I've got planned in Bradford.
I know what you said, Liam, was that although they don't have much out there, the children are so happy. They're pleased to see you. And
yeah, they're so happy, like, yeah, when I see them, just taking them simple things like sweets and rice, and it would just like meant so much to them, and you can see that it's really humbling.
And that's what you want to do now, don't you, in the future, is help other people. You're helping those children, but you want to help children in Bradford too?
Yeah, children in Bradford too, so I've got an idea of opening a support hub for people that have lost their parents or siblings, sort of like a community centre where they can get together and support each other, and we can support them as well.
And what was it like when you finally got back to Yorkshire then? Because, I mean, this was the moment you were waiting for.
Yeah, when I got back it was a bit strange seeing people. Obviously, it was nice to see my family and friends, but I'm still adjusting. like I've pretty much been isolated on my own for 3 months. So yeah, a couple of weeks and I'll be back into the swing of things.
Well, we really appreciate you coming in to talk to us today, especially if you've been on your own for the last 4 months.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting me in here, and yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Now, I know you were asking me earlier about this storm that's coming. Shall we find out more from Kerry?
Yeah, let's find out more.
Brilliant, thank you.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Yes, it was a fairly cold and cloudy day across most parts of the region today. Certainly a very murky start with some mist and fog in places, but a bit of brightness above the low cloud for the afternoon. But generally speaking, a cloudy story for most. We have got clearer skies waiting in the wings for tomorrow morning, but in turn we've got this weather front bringing a wet and windy spell as we head into the middle part of the day, and all of this ahead of Friday and the warnings and the named storm. So as we head through into this evening and overnight tonight, it's a mostly dry picture. Cloud will come and go. Under the clearer spells, especially further north, we'll see fog and frost. So down the Vale of York, again, some freezing fog patches. Temperatures will be sub-zero here. Further south, perhaps the likes of Sheffield, Chesterfield, just about staying above freezing, but it's a chilly enough start as we head through into tomorrow. There is sun times 8:07 and 4:30. So for Thursday, morning mist and fog, a chilly start, frosty in places, then a bit of sunshine, then the wet and windy spell coming through. The winds will whip up, the showers could be heavy, containing hail and maybe even some snow right over the tops of the dales, for example. But there will be a wet and windy spell and temperatures will struggle, highs at best around 5 or 6 Celsius. It will move away quite quickly, and for most of tomorrow night it's dry and cold. That brings an additional problem as Storm Eowyn pushes its way north and eastwards during the course of Wednesday. So initially some snow, then a wet spell and then a very windy day, but there will be some sunshine, especially further south. Saturday, Sunday, the weekend, a brief respite, but stormy again into next week.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yeah, it's looking a bit tasty to say the least. I've got some friends due to come down from Newcastle to see me on Friday. Do you think they should be driving on Friday?
Well, the advice under an amber warning is to not travel, so yeah, try and delay them till Saturday when it's much nicer.
Right, I shall tell them.
You'll have to see me instead. That's all for now. Thanks for watching and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Good night.
Bye.